have citizens' comments to request a street name change of certain portions of North Avenue U, Cornell Street, North Avenue N, Baylor Street, North Avenue K, and First Street to Cesar y Chavez Drive, and to consider a resolution to do so. We have several citizens who have signed up to speak on this issue. Christy Martinez Garcia is the first one listed here from 3015 36th Street. Ms. Garcia?
Good morning, Mayor and members of Council. For the past 8 years, efforts to rename Canyon Lakes Drive to Cesar y Chavez Drive have been ongoing. More so, efforts to showcase the many Mexican Americans who helped lay a legacy for our community and who helped in the development of Lubbock have also been consistent. First, I want to thank the Cesar y Chavez Commemoration Committee and all its supporters for modeling tenacity and passion and helping to draw attention to Cesar y Chavez, a great American hero, more so drawing attention to the history of Mexican Americans in Lubbock, that is. For 8 years, this effort has been handed off from one to another, never losing focus to rename Canyon Lakes Drive to Cesar y Chavez Drive because of its historical significance. Each person has added to this effort and made it easier to arrive to where the committee is at today. Thousands of supporters, local, national, and statewide attention, over 75 speakers, not including this morning's, at citizen public comment times at 7:30 in the morning, and more knowledge of who Cesar y Chavez was, a visit by his brother Richard, and most importantly, self-respect to a population in Lubbock who struggled to do so much in this community and were disregarded. And more recently, we have been notified that one of Lubbock's historic migrant labor camps, which is located, that is, on the site where Aztlan Park now sits, has received a state marker designation. This is a big thing for Lubbock. This will further draw attention to the contributions of Lubbock migrant workers, thus further enhancing attention to this community on a state and national level. We're going to be put on a lot of good maps, and that's a positive thing. Sadly, it's never been a straight and smooth road for Mexican Americans in Lubbock. The historical significance of this course and the opportunity to showcase the history, including Yellow House Canyon, where the railroad first brought many Mexican Americans to Lubbock in 1909. In 1912, the Guadalupe district, once labeled Mexican town, drew many families seeking work and quality of life. Plus, this is where many of our Latino families first evolved. The migrant labor camps, of course, as I mentioned, are located on this course, one in Aztlan Park, one in McKenzie Park. The KLFB building is where the first Spanish AM radio station was located. The Fiesta Plaza is also on this course. The Northwest Little League baseball fields are there, as will be the future baseball parks. The Guadalupe area, the hardest hit part of town on May 11th, 1970, and where more than half of the fatalities were descendants of our families. As an empty spot takes the place of the former Guadalupe Center, which used to be on that course until it was torn down. The former McKenzie swimming pool, also a landmark, and a facility that once denied access to many Mexican American children. All of this history lies on this one road. History that should be included in Lubbock's centennial celebration, and hopefully will now that we have actually researched and centralized it. The road demonstrates struggles of generations before us, and while it is not consistent, it evokes the struggles of past generations as well as the steadfast spirit of our families. Many were pleased by the first approval of some members of the council. In addition, as we went door to door asking residents on the abutting street for their support, they signed our petition with no hesitation. We received almost 100% of the required signatures. Many also said that this change would be positive and would create consistency as the roads goes from portions of North Avenue U, Cornell Street, North Avenue N, Taylor Street, North Avenue K, and First Street along a route generally from Erskine Street and North Avenue area to Aztlan Park. That sounds confusing. I'm sure that you agree with that. Some explained that there had been problems for 911 calls. There had even been problems when we had called city for issues in the parks because of this inconsistency of this one road that goes through a neighborhood that needs those types of services. When we brought this item to the Planning and Zoning Commission, they recognized the inefficiency of changing these streets, on the same course to one name, and unanimously, they voted to make a recommendation to you, the City Council, of this single street renaming Cesar E. Chavez Drive. As such, we're asking you that you support this proposal to change the name of the aforementioned portions of streets to Cesar E. Chavez Drive. Let's put this baby to bed, or we will continue to come to City Council meetings and start this process again as necessary. This is not a threat. We're just following the protocol of citizens that is required by all citizens. Unfortunately, it seems that this has been a little bit more difficult. So we're asking you to support this effort, and we thank you for your time and full consideration.
Thank you. Natalia Salazar? And because of the number of speakers we do have today, as well as a lengthy presentation coming up on item 6.3, I'm going to ask Mr. Ayton to set the timer at 3 minutes, please, and give the normal 20-second notice that the time is almost up. Welcome. Glad you're here.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Natalia Salazar, and I'm here from Arnett Benson Neighborhood Association. I've expressed my feelings and toward this through the past, and I think everybody here knows about them. I support this renaming of the street. Like I said before, I would have chosen a main artery because that man deserves it. And I think that he did not only for us as Mexican Americans, Latinos, or Hispanics, or, you know, we are, or American natives. He did for all. He did, and everybody's benefiting from his work and his struggles and everything. I think he really deserves this renaming of the streets, you know, to his honor, Cesar E. Chavez. And I hope that to continue working for Lubbock, and I want to congratulate everybody that's doing this revitalization of the downtown area. We do need that, but please don't forget us on the Arnett Benson side and Guadalupe on the other parts of the country, the city. And I want to say that I really hope that y'all consider this renaming of the street. I think that Christy has already named and wrote down and spoke of all the things that it's considered to rename this street. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Salazar. Davida Doro? Good morning.
Good morning. These are not my notes. My name is Tavita Hernandez Doro, and I live at 2320 17th Street. I want to congratulate this council because you're at the verge of taking action on an issue that's been on the, on the books for several months. But I think that the upside of all of this, in spite of the fact that it's taken so long, is that that it has brought us the history of the migrant labor in Lubbock to our attention. It has been something that we maybe have not thought about much, but now we are more conscious of migrant labor in this city, and of course that makes us recognize the fact that migrant labor gave birth to what is now the Latino or Hispanic community in the city. I think the other upside to this is that we are recognizing a man that is a hero to many of us, regardless of your skin color. It also illustrates that the giant side of Texas is good and well, because you are demonstrating that you give it thought, are reasonable, and we should all be proud of that. So go for it and support this action today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Doro. Mr. Carlos Quintanilla? If you please state your name and address for the record, please.
Good morning. My name is Carlos Quintanilla. I'm with a group called Acción America. We're from Dallas, Texas. I've been invited here today to talk about an issue that Cesar Chavez would aggressively defend. And as an advocate for civil rights, Cesar Chavez led the farm workers in moving forward and getting rights and being treated with respect and dignity. He talked about justice, and he was a champion for the cause of the poor. He was an advocate for treatment that was dignified, for housing that was fair and decent. And here in the city of Lubbock, we find that there is an absence of that justice. There is an absence of respecting the dignity and sanctity of life. And as you are aware, we have called for the resignation of City Manager Leanne Dumball.
Mayor, point of
Sir,
order.
you will limit your comments to the Cesar Chavez Street name change.
We have called for the resignation.
Sir, you are out of order. You will limit your comments to the subject that this public hearing has been called for.
We are calling for
Have him removed.
the city to respect the rights of individuals, to respect the process to protect its citizens, to guarantee that there is a policy in place that guarantees that if someone is tased, that they have...
Mayor, this is not
Sir,
germane to the...
I'm going to ask the police
public
to
hearing.
remove this gentleman if
I will
he
leave on.
remains out of order. Are there other citizens present that would like to speak for or against item 6.2 on our agenda today? Seeing none, I declare this public hearing closed. Is there a motion?
I'd like to move to rename this street that has been supported by 100% of its citizens to be renamed Cesar E. Chavez Drive.
Is there a second?
Point of order, we're talking streets, are we not, or is it just simply a singular street?
As it's noted
You
here in
just
the
have to look
paper.
at the motion as it's been, the recommendation of the resolution as it's been presented is to rename these multiple streets to Cesar E. Chavez Drive.
Okay, just for point of information or point of order, then the motion that the councilwoman is putting forward is to rename 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different streets, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I think,
We have a motion that's been made. Is there a second? Hearing none, the motion dies for lack of a second. Now open a public hearing to discuss the history of billboards in Lubbock and invite public comments regarding the zoning code applicable to billboards. Are there any, actually, I'm going to do this first. Mr. Bill Boone is prepared to make a presentation today. Bill, would you come forward, and then we'll call on those citizens who have signed up to speak.